So we're going to talk about leaders adding value by serving others. How should we as leaders do that? So the goal today is, if you want to increase your leadership, you need to increase your servanthood. No, I'm not talking about making coffee for your people. If you are leading 10 people, 20 people, it doesn't mean every morning you buy coffee, buy prata, No. How do you add value to them? How do you help them to be more productive? How do you help them to be more efficient? What can you do as a leader to help them and add value to them? So best leaders have a heart, an attitude, and a spirit to serve others. So they always ask these questions. How can I serve you? In their mind as a leader, they're asking themselves, how can I serve you? What can I do for you? And how can I add value to you? Most leaders have the reverse. How can you serve me? What can you do for me? And how can you add value to me as the leader? It's actually a wrong concept. All right? That way is positional. This way is relational. So leadership is about people. Management is about process. But if you want to be a leader, you got to think about, how do I work with people? So leaders add value. How do we do that? 3 ways. First, we need to truly value others. In other words, the people that work with you, they're not a digit. You must truly value them as a person. Okay, we start from there. Secondly, we need to make ourselves more valuable to others. How do we make ourselves more valuable? What do we have to give to our people? How can we lead them? And thirdly, know and relate what others value. So my question is, do you know your people that you're leading? Or are they just colleagues to you? Do you really understand who they are? What are their aspirations? What are their, what is going on with them at home? So we'll touch on these 3, we'll expand these 3, and then we'll show you how Jesus lead. And I'll show you a contrast from Jesus to someone else. So, when a person moves into a position of authority, he or she gives up the right to abuse people. It's no fun. You go into a meeting, you go in with fear, because this guy's shouting, sometimes he throws stuff around, and that is not becoming of a leader. That's a leader that's lost control. Lost control. He's using position to lead. So how do we truly value people? We need to be intentional about helping others, okay? Leaders must value people. Like I said, you must value your people. They are not robots. Demonstrate that you care. You must show that you care. Let me put it this way. If you work with a company and no one tells you thank you, no one tells you well done, how you feel? No meaning. Your boss don't appreciate what you do. You give him a report after spending 3 days doing the report, and he says, okay, put it on side. So, as a leader, you need to show appreciation in such a way that your followers know it. So I share with you a story from John. There's this gentleman who works with him. His name is called Dan Rylin. So one day, Dan was coming in from the outside of the building to go to his office. And John Maxwell was talking to a group of people. At that time, he was still a pastor. So he was talking to a few people. And this guy, Dan, walked straight past them without even saying hi or good morning, and went straight up to his room. So John felt kind of odd. Why did this guy do this? And so John just continued talking with the people, and then he excused himself. And he went up to this guy's office. He knocked his door. Hey, Dan, can I have a word with you? I said, yeah, sure. This morning you just walked past us without acknowledging any of us. And Dan told him, yeah, I know, but I've got a lot of work to do. I just need to start my work because, I've got so much to do. And then John said, yeah, Dan, but those people that you walk past, they are your work. The people are your work. It's not this. Nobody works alone. You work in a team if you're a leader. Those people are your work. So if you take care of the people, they will work with you and you will be able to finish your work on time. So just an example of what some people forget, that it's all about work, it's not about the people. Okay? So as a result, you don't lead them as how you would value them and show appreciation. Okay? So how did Jesus value others? So I just wanted to touch a little bit on the scripture. Firstly, healing of the young girl. He took the time to go all the way to her house to heal her. And by doing that, he showed he cared. The lame man or the leper, he did that as well. He was not afraid to touch the leper and heal the leper. And in the Jewish custom, you're not allowed to touch the leper. That's why when the lepers come, they have to shout, unclean, 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 so that people will not touch them. But Jesus was different. He embraced them and he loved them. And remember this guy who came down from the roof, the paralytic? So they lowered him down, and the Lord healed him. And he showed his care. He showed how he loved and cared for the people. Even though he was the leader, he did that. And even healed the blind, the deaf, the dumb. That's what Jesus did. And he showed it. So as a leader, he was showing his care and concern for the people. Similarly, we as leaders must do the same. People appreciate touch, words of praise, words of affirmation. It's important. We also need to make ourselves valuable to others. What do you have to give others as a leader? What have you got to give them? Can you teach them a skill? Can you mentor? Can you coach? Or are you just giving assignments after assignments? Who would like to work for you like that? Can you give opportunities to people that work with you? So when I was a sales leader, I used to have a finance manager, who had great potential to be a business unit owner, a business unit leader. But because he's only accounts and finance, if he becomes a leader, his outlook is very myopic. So he's only blinkered the numbers, he's very finance. So I said, would you like to take on a sales role? And I asked him that question. And he told me, yes. Yes, he wanted. So he was my finance manager. Then he took on a sales role. And I gave him Indonesia as the country to manage for me. Right? The reason I did that was I felt that he had the capacity to do it and the potential to do it. And if he could successfully do it, in future when he become a business unit leader, he has a wider scope. He has finance, he has sales, and he's be able to manage his team better. So I allowed him to do it for a year. He did very well. Today, he's the CFO of one of the Berkeley companies in China. And because of this opportunity that I gave him, he grew himself. And he moved on from there. He went to INSET to take up the masters, and then today he's a CFO in China, one of the big companies. Can you give people an opportunity? Those who work with you, can you develop them? Can you give insight or perspective from the experience that you gain? The more intentional you have in growing yourself personally, the more important it is. Okay, you need to read books, attend courses, etc. So the very fact that you are here tells me something, that you are interested to learn something about growing yourself. These are things that you may not have heard about or know about until you attend a class like this. Because you don't only just learn about the theory, you hear about the stories that I share. My life story, stories from elsewhere.